KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Are you ready for the best in Sooner football recruiting news? Then it's time to get locked in with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Whether you're a recruiting doomer or sunshine pumper, text the guys on the First Liberty Bank text line at 405-651-3439 and call your shot on the Riverwind Casino jackpot line at 405-329-9000.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
I'm dying, Grayson. I'm dying today.
You could?
Allergies are killing me, slowly and painfully.
Okay, we need to talk about this because this seems to happen this time of year about once every 2 or 3 weeks. Do you take allergy medicine?
I do, man. I am medicated right now, and it ain't working. I'll tell you that much. It is not working.
Do you take a daily one?
Yeah.
Oh. Huh.
Yet here we are, struggling to hold it together. What is today? Tuesday? Wednesday?
Today's Tuesday.
One of those days.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, I'm out of it.
Yeah?
I am out of it. I don't know if we're going to be able to make it through the show.
So, Steely's rants at the beginning and throughout you guys' 2 hours didn't energize you, give you a little jolt?
No, quite the opposite. I found it. It's not that I didn't find it engaging. I certainly did. Steely's battle with a folding table was peak comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, my energy level has just continued to tick downward and downward and downward. And the amount of sneezes per hour throughout the day ticked upward and upward and upward.
So should I have wiped this mic off before I started talking into it?
I do not sneeze on the microphone.
Okay.
I am not a barbarian. Nor do I act as such in the office. I would never microwave salmon, for one thing.
I knew you were going to go there. I was hoping you wouldn't go there. Did the weather last night get bad for you out there in Blanchard?
If it did, I was already asleep.
So was I, and my power went out at my apartment and then clicked immediately back on. I wonder if anybody on the text line or you has ever had this happen to you.
Okay.
So my power switched off and switched back on. Clearly, I didn't know it went off because this was at like 4:30 in the morning. I was
for sure
asleep.
Tracking.
When it came back on, it turned almost every single thing in my house on, just for no reason. My lamp in my bedroom just clicked on, and it's a mood lamp, so like it was a green light was just going off in my room. Both of my televisions came on, and all my ceiling fans came on.
That is wild.
Uh-huh.
I can't say I've ever had that particular experience.
They all were off, and then all just immediately everything in the house was on.
I need you to explain to me the concept of a mood lamp. Is it a lamp that adjusts to your mood?
No,
or
it's
is it
a lamp that lets you set the color.
Oh, okay, got you.
Did you ever have like the LED light strips when you were in college?
LED light strips? No. I wasn't an LED light strips type of person.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I don't have that anymore because I feel like once you get out of college, you're probably too old for those.
That's fair.
But I have a lamp where I bought like these smart light bulbs from Amazon. They're like $12, and they connect to an app on your phone, and you can change the color.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, my room is purple this morning.
Okay, so what's the mood when the lamp is green?
I use it to match whatever I'm watching on TV.
Oh, fascinating.
Uh-huh.
So what were you matching? Like, was it blue last night because you were watching the Thunder?
Right. Yeah. And then it just turned onto a random-ass color.
Okay.
Like, the electricity in my house just did its own thing. I was pretty disoriented for about 30 minutes before I went back to sleep.
Billy Jack on the First Liberty Bank text line 405-651-3439 says, Grayson, you have a poltergeist, my friend.
Believe me, I walked around my 650-square-foot apartment about 3 times to make sure nobody was in there.
Gunny says, that isn't the power, sir. It's a kind of energy, though.
All right, now y'all scaring me.
Oh, what else we got? 405 listener simply says, in all caps, a mood lamp?
Yeah, you never heard of that one, bud?
Brett from Jenks says Grayson needs a lava lamp. I had a lava lamp.
I had a lava lamp when I
Yeah.
was a kid.
Lava lamp is cool. It's
Yeah.
relaxing. It's a vibe.
But you can't change the color, though. Once you get
You
the color,
cannot. Nope.
I like to be able to change the color.
You certainly cannot change the color of a lava lamp. It is the same color forever. I still have that lava lamp lying around somewhere. Gotta go dig it up.
Texter in the 386 state of Florida says, I'm more concerned that the ceiling fans were turned off. I would have melted. The one in my bedroom was on, believe me. The one in the living room was the one that mysteriously turned on. I keep a ceiling fan on, and my house is set at 68 degrees when I sleep.
Oh, so you like it cold?
Oh, I have to be cold.
Fascinating. I am not particularly temperature sensitive when it comes to sleeping. My wife is. I am not.
Yeah, I can't sleep. When
As long as it's like less than 80 degrees, I can sleep.
See, anything lower than like 73, and I have problems.
Folks, the show is brought to you today by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno, family owned and operated. Dorsey Jones is staffed by people who care, people who are eager to get you behind the wheel of a brand new GMC, which, of course, offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today. Head out to El Reno. Check out what they got going on out at Dorsey Jones. And again, hit us up in the First Liberty Bank text line, 405-651-3439. Okay, what's got you snickering before we move on?
General Booty's lieutenant says, surely Grayson is of the persuasion that enjoys ghosts. I'm not sure because I'm not watching the YouTube stream, so I cannot see. Well, if you do not know what I look like, I am not of the persuasion that enjoys chasing ghosts.
U.S. Army Sooner says, we're talking about mood lamps? What channel is this? I promise we're going to talk some sports here.
We're talking about the weather switching on every damn thing that I turned off in my house before I went to bed.
Now, I think where we start today is the news that Gabriel Osborne, the top uncommitted player in the state of Oklahoma and the number 29 overall player in the 2027 cycle, regardless of position according to Rivals, is officially, Mr. Singleton, down to 5 schools.
Yep.
That is what we got. We got a top 5 for Gabriel Osborne. The schools are as follows: the illustrious University of Oklahoma, the Ohio State University, the University of Alabama, the University of Michigan, and the University of Miami. That is the 5 for Gabe Osborne. Count them. 5 schools. He has official visits set to 3 of those schools: OU, Alabama, Ohio State. For all intents and purposes, Grayson, that's the top 3. I don't think he winds up at Michigan. I don't think he winds up at Miami. Michigan is making a run at Josh Dobson, which is a name that may ring a bell for some diehard listeners of this show. Oklahoma was in the mix for Josh Dobson, the 5-star cornerback out of Rock Hill, South Carolina at one point, but no longer. Michigan's making a run at Dobson, and Miami just took commitments within the last week from 2 of the elite corners in the 2027 cycle in Iking Hall and Dante Wright. And so is there the budgetary room at that particular position to continue pursuing Osborne? The sense I've gotten in talking with folks that are tapped in on the Miami side is no, there really isn't. And so I don't see Miami as a school that has staying power down the stretch in Osborne's recruitment. I'm skeptical that Michigan makes a serious run. I think it's really about 3 schools: OU, Alabama, Ohio State. If you had to handicap the race between 3 of the absolute most prestigious, most renowned brands in the sport, how do you think this stacks up for Gabe Osborne?
I think it's going to come down to, I can't discount Ohio State because Miami was prominently in the picture.
They were.
So I can't discount Ohio State. But does it feel to you, and I'm just going to take a guess here and swing, is this an Oklahoma-Alabama thing coming down the stretch?
That's kind of what I feel like. I think it comes down to those 2 within the 3. If I had to guess who has a hat at the table, and there will be more than 2 hats on the table, I imagine, on decision day, but the 2 hats that people are watching to see which one Gabe Osborne's hand gravitates toward, I think those hats are going to be OU and Alabama. That's the way I see it. I think those are the top 2.
Who do you think's got the edge right now?
It's hard to say, man. And he told me for Soonerscoop.com last night when I went out to Mustang that he does intend to take all of his official visits before he makes a decision. Now, it's just unclear how many official visits he's going to take. again, I don't foresee an OV to Miami materializing, but an OV to Michigan could. And if an OV to Michigan did, it would be at the end. It would be June 19th through the 21st that he visits Michigan in all likelihood. And so we are not going to get a decision from Gabe Osborne, if he stays true to his word, until late June at the absolute earliest. So we're not going to find out today nor tomorrow where Gabe Osborne is headed. Oklahoma gets the first crack at him during the OVs. And it's going to be on a May 29th through 31st OV weekend, Grayson, that has quickly become absolutely loaded with talent. I mean, names that the average Oklahoma fan, even the average locked-in listener, didn't even know, wasn't even aware of a month ago. Now getting ready to flock to Norman for the May 29th through 31st official visit weekend. So Oklahoma getting the first crack as opposed to the last crack at a hometown kid. You think that is more of a benefit or a detriment for the Sooners?
I think it's more of it's not a detriment. Let's rule that out. It's not a detriment because he's the hometown kid, and when you're a hometown school 30 minutes away from where the kid grew up, you have to royally screw up the process for that to be a detriment. I don't know if it's a benefit, though. It would have been more beneficial for them to have the last crack at him, I think, given that he's the hometown kid, because basically at that point what you would be doing is, hey, you might have liked this, you might have seen this, and that might have been cool, but here's why we're going to keep you home. And I think that has a better pull if it's the last one than the first one. I do think, though, it does set the table if Oklahoma is in the lead right now and has been in the lead, if they're not just in the lead by default because Miami seems to be going a different direction, that's a whole other story. But if they are actually in the lead, all of a sudden you get to set the pace first. That's the positive spin on it, is that you get to set the pace, and now Alabama's got to play from behind and try to usurp you and have to do a little bit more work to do that. That's how I'm looking at this with how they fall right now.
There's a card Oklahoma can play here. And they're in a unique situation to be able to play this particular card. But again, as it stands right now, his OVs to OU, Alabama, Ohio State are going to be May 29th through the 31st, June 5th through the 7th, and June 12th through the 14th. As of right now, that June 19th through the 21st weekend is open. And it may stay that way unless he winds up locking in that Michigan OV. If he doesn't wind up locking that Michigan OV, and even if he does, until that dead period hits, whenever it is, June 24th, 25th, something like that, you know what you can always do with Gabe Osborne? Hey, man, why don't you drive on down?
Yeah. Yep.
Stop by campus for the day. It's the summertime now. Kids are out of school. They don't have any commitments, generally speaking, that impact their day-to-day schedules unless they're working jobs, which let's be honest, a guy like Gabe Osborne is no more than 10, 11 months away from a big-time payday regardless of where he signs.
Yep.
And so he doesn't need to do that and probably won't be doing that. So.
Only thing he could possibly be doing is playing AAU basketball.
Exactly. And Mustang is in the middle of spring practice right now. Osborne isn't practicing with them, but he's out participating in team activities. I meant to get clarity last night and didn't on what exactly the reason is that he's not practicing, but it doesn't appear to be anything serious. He's running through drills and everything and just not in pads, just not participating in pads. But you can always tell Gabe Osborne, who is 45 minutes down the road in Mustang, hey, man, just come down to campus for the day. At the very tail end, once he takes his Alabama OV, his Ohio State OV, if there's still any lingering concern as to where Oklahoma stands with that kid and you have some things that you feel like you have to get across face-to-face with the kid, you can always tell him to loop back around. And that's a very easy thing to make happen on both ends. Greg in Muskogee wants to know, what weekend is Oklahoma using as the Champ U barbecue weekend? Is that the 19th through the 21st? And if so, could he come back for that? Greg, I don't think we're going to see the Champ U barbecue label applied to one specific OV weekend anymore. What Oklahoma has done for a couple years now is they've done two major official visit weekends. And so it used to be that they'd stack the majority of their official visitors on one weekend, and that was the Champ U barbecue. But Oklahoma's going to have a bunch of official visitors in the neighborhood of 20, I think. In town, May 29th through the 31st. They'll have a similar number in town, June 12th through the 14th. Those are the 2 weekends. Pretty evenly split. I think the May 29th through the 31st weekend is slightly bigger right now, but pretty evenly split. That makes things a little bit easier logistically on all of the staffers to be able to give time and attention to all of the recruits that are in town, as opposed to hosting 30 guys in one weekend. For instance, if you can host 15, 20 on 2 weekends, it makes a lot more sense as far as working the logistics on the program's end. And as of right now, the only player that is scheduled for an official visit outside of those 2 weekends would be Ben Kolar, who's taking his midweek June 3rd through the 5th.
Right. And, I mean, it's probably just easier mentally on everybody else. Now, why did they get rid of designating one of them as the Champ U barbecue?
Just because I think when the front office got here, they wanted to do things a little bit differently.
Fair enough.
Better, worse, the same? I don't know, but certainly differently. And so I can't remember whether Oklahoma officially designated a weekend as the Champ U barbecue weekend last year, but they have not done so this year. So, it doesn't really matter.
I think they did last year because I remember us talking about it in my first recruiting cycle on this show, which was last year.
That would have been last year, yeah. Blake from Owasso wants to know, is there a mindset with the staff for Osborne to not let him take his other OVs after he visits OU? Not really. They're committed to playing the long game here. They understand that they're going to have to play the long game with a kid like this, and he doesn't have an agent, to my understanding. So all of the conversations regarding money are happening directly with Osborne and his family. There's no representative that kind of serves as the touch point there, the go-between. And so I think there's still a lot that needs to be figured out on Osborne's end between him and his folks. And so this is not the type of situation where Oklahoma is all of a sudden going to get this kid committed on May 31st as he's wrapping up his OVs, and then it's just done, and he doesn't bother with the Ohio State trip or the Alabama trip. No, again, like he said verbatim last night, I'm going to take all my OVs before I make a decision. And so you imagine Oklahoma is the type of staff that's going to respect those wishes. It doesn't mean they're not going to push to get him to commit. I mean, that's why you host kids on official visits, is because you want it to mark the end of the process. You want to make your last push a decisive one. Mm-hmm. But it's not always the case that kids have or are ready to make a decision right then and there on the OV, especially if they have subsequent visits to come, and that is the case with Osborne. So, again, late June at the absolute earliest is probably when you're going to see it come down with Osborne.
3-star Glenn from Nashville says, no agent? I love this kid. Get him committed.
Okay, and let's be clear about this, though. We need to differentiate. We need to distinguish between agents and handlers.
Correct.
Good agents make life substantially easier for Oklahoma's front office and every front office.
And, by the way, for the kid, too.
And for the kid. A good agent makes everybody's life easier.
Mm-hmm.
A handler makes everybody's life infinitely more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to name names here, but there's one very prominent handler that Oklahoma dealt with shortly before Jim Nagy in the front office got to town that they probably won't be dealing with again, nor will they probably be dealing with anybody that is cut from that same cloth or fits that same mold, i.e. is not qualified to engage, is not objectively qualified to engage in conversations about money and about contractual language with the staff. So the front office very much enjoys working with capable, professional, qualified agents. They do not enjoy working with slappies.
Exactly. I mean, because you don't want to be talking that amount of money with kids, and you don't want to do it with, unqualified parents.
Correct.
Yeah.
405-651-3439 is the First Liberty Bank text line. So much more to discuss as we unwind here on Locked In. The buzz is heating up between Oklahoma and an offensive target in the 2027 cycle. The latest on that situation coming up here on The Ref. The home of Sooner fans. Keep it right here.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
Maybe an astronaut, a teacher, an artist, a world changer. But right now, it's the little moments that will make the big moments possible. The choices you make before, during, and after pregnancy can have a big impact on the rest of your baby's life. Find tips to keep your baby safe and healthy at preparingforalifetime.com. It's more than just one moment. You're preparing for a lifetime.
In Iraq, our truck hit a roadside bomb. I had about 16 surgeries on my hand so that I could regain function. And when I came home, I needed a new roof due to a storm. And I was about to lose homeowners insurance as well. I applied for Operation Homefront Critical Financial Assistance Program. And it's good to know that when we come home, there are people who are there that care about us. Operation Homefront, they've really been a blessing.
Visit operationhomefront.org to learn more.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Mathew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information.
From the bench to your defense. Tracy Schumacher, a former district judge, former Cleveland County prosecutor, and now your voice in a DUI fight. Your driver's license could be at risk. Time is critical. If you've been charged with DUI in Cleveland, McLean, Grady, or Garvin County, you need someone who knows how the system works. Schumacher Law Group at 405-701-1882 or visit lawgroupok.com. From the bench to your defense when experience matters. Looking for a reason to upgrade your car? Confidence Ford of Norman is there for you. Right now, you can save a total of $16,000 on a new 2025 Ford F-150 or save $10,000 on a new 2026 Ford Explorer. Whether you're looking for new or pre-owned, there's never been a better time to get behind the wheel. And when it's time for service, trust our top-rated service center and Ford-certified master technicians. Come visit us today at 825 North Interstate Drive or visit us online. Confidence Ford of Norman, where confidence is Cavender.
Aging well means staying healthy, active, and independent. To age well, we need to take care of our bones. 10 million Americans have osteoporosis, a hereditary disease that makes bones weak and more likely to break. Thankfully, we can all take simple steps to improve our bone health at any age. Eat a healthy diet that is rich in calcium and vitamin D. Get regular weight-bearing exercise, which means on our feet. Get bone health tips at pathtogoodbonehealth.org.
Your child's oral health milestones matter. By age 1, see a pediatric dentist to establish good oral health habits. At 7, see an orthodontist to check your child's bite, teeth, and jaws. Around 15, visit an oral and maxillofacial surgeon to have your child's wisdom teeth examined. Remember, milestones met, healthy teeth set. Visit milestonesmet.org.
We are KOCO5 News, live, local, late breaking. Your trusted source on every device.
13 years most accurate, alerting you first to severe weather, keeping you safe.
Celebrating the places that made us and the road that still brings us together.
Because this is home. We don't just cover Oklahoma, we're part of it. And you deserve news that puts you first.
Dedicated to Oklahoma, dedicated to you. KOCO5, live, local, late breaking.
It's locked in here on the Ref, the Oklahoma Sooner fans. Parker Thune, Grayson Singleton. As of this morning, Grayson, new prediction in from Sam Spiegelman of rivals favoring Oklahoma to land Ben Kolar. So there it is. Now, obviously, that's not the end of it. Predictions don't mean anything in the grand scheme.
Mm-hmm.
They are usually right. Sometimes they are not. Many times, certain things change over the course of the process. So this shouldn't serve as an indication that, Ben Kolar is most certainly coming to the University of Oklahoma. But good to know from such a reputable national reporter as Sam Spiegelman that the intel solidly favors Oklahoma right now for Kolar. And it's especially significant in this case because Sam and I talk quite a bit, Grayson, because he's the Mid-South guy for Rivals. I'm obviously here in the Mid-South, travel around a good bit. So we always have some good intel to exchange back and forth about one recruitment or another or one situation or another. And he has been toying with the Kolar prediction for months now. As early as, I think, maybe February, he has repeatedly told me, man, I'm this close to officially predicting OU for Kolar. So the fact that something occurred in recent days to tip the scales in his mind is a great sign. And on that note, care to guess who was out at Norman North yesterday?
I would guess Jason Witten was.
Yes, indeed. Future NFL Hall of Famer and newly appointed tight ends coach at the illustrious University of Oklahoma, Jason Witten was indeed on hand at Norman North.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm glad you gave the background with Sam because I think people need to realize that even though predictions don't always end up coming to fruition, they are very well sourced.
Yes.
This isn't just I'm going to throw darts at a dartboard and see what happens and pick something, that looks somewhat sexy and eye-catching. No, so I do think that Ben Kolar will end up with Oklahoma. I love that he held off on it and didn't just say, all right, he's going to end up at Oklahoma because he lives 5 minutes down the road and he's got a nice little connection there. Like, no, continue to do the same amount and same body of work to be accumulated and then enter your prediction the same way you would do if you were entering it for somebody 200 miles away. So I do think this is a well-sourced prediction, and it matches what my feeling has been with this all along.
So Oklahoma appears to be in good shape for Kolar. I'll add this as well. I know I've kind of been a little bit tentative about cultivating the expectation that Gabe Osborne winds up in Oklahoma's class. Sam's had that pick in, I think, since January.
He has.
If not earlier. And talking to him yesterday, he said, I'm still quite confident that Gabe winds up a Sooner. So if you don't take my word for it or for anything, there you go. There's somebody that isn't beholden to the OU intel machine in any capacity whatsoever that's willing to go on record saying, yep, I still like Oklahoma very much to wind up on top in the Gabe Osborne recruitment.
We have a super chat here on YouTube, KREF Sports on YouTube. Pierre asked a question, will this help with Case Alexander?
And a very timely super chat because I was just about to pivot there. Oklahoma looks good for Kolar. They look pretty good for Gabe Osborne. There hasn't been really any motion back in the other direction for Case Alexander as far as the predictions go and the expectations nationally from national recruiting reporters. They all still have their picks on Penn State for Case Alexander. And where I stand, I've been upfront about this for a while. Like, Oklahoma closed the gap. They certainly closed the gap and gave themselves a shot in March when I want to say Case Alexander visited twice. So they go into official visit season with a chance if indeed things get to official visit season. But there's also the very real possibility that Case Alexander commits prior to OVs, and if he were to commit prior to OVs, I think it would
likely
be to Penn State. Yeah, I still think Oklahoma has a hump that they have to get over. It's one of those two. That's not news to anybody that's been following this process. It's Oklahoma or it's Penn State. It is that simple. It is going to be one of those two schools. It just comes down to which one winds up winning the battle.
Let me ask you this. So Oklahoma already has at linebacker Taven Epps and Cooper Witten, committed. Does that serve somewhat as a deterrent toward Case Alexander? Maybe a deterrent is a little bit strong but does he want to be in a class with two other dudes, or does Penn State have a better situation in terms of access to playing time
yeah,
a little bit faster.
In terms of immediate opportunity, there's more of it at Penn State, certainly.
Okay.
And I know, and just talking to sources on the OU side that have been directly involved in that process, they believe it's been a little bit of a deterrent to Case throughout the process. They believe that, especially once Witten committed, and that gave them 2 in Taven Epps and Cooper Witten. Like, when Witten committed, that significantly diminished their chances to land Case Alexander. And they've still been swinging, obviously. They haven't given up the fight, but there's still a hill to climb in the Case Alexander recruitment. And all Oklahoma can hope for at this point is that they get the chance to climb that hill during OV season. Because if he comes off the board in May or in early June prior to his OVs, I think it would be Penn State that gets his commitment. A 405 listener says, with Grayson's ability to connect with players and obvious intelligence, he could make some serious cash as a player agent.
Hey.
With NIL, once you have an in with guys in college, there's a natural transition to represent them when they go pro. I'm certain that big Oklahoma law firms are trying to get in on being player agents. As a rainmaker, Grayson could be looking at least $300,000 per year after 5 years or so, possibly more. Plus, he could continue to do broadcast work for local high schools, which would help make connections with players. I'm not trying to talk Grayson into going to law school. I'm just providing some insights as a retired attorney. Well, there you go. He's mapped out your whole life.
Well, first of all, I appreciate that. Thank you for the compliment coming from you. That's excellent. I don't know if you were listening the day I said this, but my backup plan to being a broadcaster was to go to law school and be an agent. So I don't know. Maybe it could still happen. I have no idea. Right now, I'm focused on climbing the broadcasting ladder. And getting to the network level at some point in my life. But, you know, man, that was actually my plan B. So, you know what? You never know. I mean, I'm still 24, so you never know what could happen in the future. But I appreciate it, brother.
A listener in the state of Florida says, with regard to agents, Nagy's NFL background and a good agent who knows the market will always reign supreme over negotiating with a kid's uncle who went to business school for a week. Yeah, and like there are certain situations where you don't have an agent to negotiate with directly, and you don't really have much of an option but to negotiate with whoever is filling that chair. And Gabe Osborne's recruitment is a perfect example. There is no agent in principle, but if we're talking about a 4-star kid from out of state, for instance, and maybe a guy that is of less importance because he's that good of a player at that important of a position, then maybe Oklahoma doesn't even bother pursuing a guy like that if they know that they're going to have to deal with mom and uncle and cousin and all of these figures that have their hands in the pie somehow, and it's all just going to get very convoluted and messy. They would just rather deal with a comparable player who has one point of contact that's going to be honest, that's going to be upfront, going to be transparent about their desires, and you can go from there.
No, I'm not going to lie to you. On the Gabe Osborne point, sorry to cut you off there.
No, you're good.
But on the Gabe Osborne point, with a guy who is as highly touted as he is, with the talent that he does, and he's going to command an absurd amount of dollars, why does he not have? Do you know why he does not and has opted to not have any sort of representation?
I don't know. And I know that there are still plenty of kids out there that opt to either handle those things internally or just have those conversations themselves or entrusted to a parent. Like not everybody wants to go the agent route. And, going back to the conversation from the end of last segment, I kind of understand why.
Sure.
When you have certain bad actors that have soured people's experiences with and perceptions of the entire profession, the entire industry. And so I certainly understand why some guys don't want to go that route. I would say the overwhelming majority at this point, though, do have representation of some kind. And we're continuing to move in a direction where I think, another 3 years from now and genuinely 99% of all P4 high school recruits, P4 level high school recruits, are going to be represented by an agent as early as their junior year.
And I do wonder what that's going to do for the agent world, too. I wonder if more kids are going to look at that growing up and say, you know what, there's such a demand for that sort of job. And look, there's barely enough qualified good agents to cover the NFL. and the NBA, there damn sure is not enough qualified good ones to cover all of the college athletes as well. So that could be an industry that, kind of like ours, sees a boom because all of a sudden there's this huge need in this space. I'm curious to see if that happens.
Glenn from Nashville. Hit the text line once again. I texted this before. I worked with an attorney in Dallas many years ago that had a small book of business as an NFL agent. He had played football for Texas Tech and had lots of contacts. He hated every minute of it. It's not all the glitz and glam that you think it is. Stay in the sports media business, Grayson. I think you and Parker both are going places.
Well, okay. I appreciate this insight, man. I love this legal background insight.
I will take any and all insight from people that have lived such experiences of those of Glenn in Nashville or the retired attorney that hit us up earlier in the segment. Trucking Sooner says, I've only been told to find a lawyer. Never heard I could make a good one. Brian in Bigsby adds, come on, Grayson, join the ranks of us lawyers.
The thing is, I don't even know if I really want to go back to school right now.
You got to do another 3 years of school, man.
Is that what it is, 3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the part that doesn't sound appealing.
And I've been out of school for longer than you have. So But I imagine you probably feel the same way. With as long as I've been out of it, it feels like an eternity, even though in all actuality it hasn't been that terribly long since I finished school. With as long as I've been out of it, I don't really have any desire at this point to go back.
Right. I've been out 2 years, I mean, I have a broadcasting schedule and a side job. When am I going to do school?
Yeah. I'm done with the formal education phase of life.
Yeah.
Doug in San Antonio adds, Grayson with that golden voice. You're on a good path anyway. 405-651-3439. That is the First Liberty Bank text line, and we have one more segment to spend with you here on Locked In. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Stay right here.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Sooner football? We do too. This is The Ref, home of Sooner fans.
No one plans for an injury, but when the worst happens, count on the best orthopedic team to turn your setbacks into comebacks. Ortho Central's comprehensive care has you covered, from expert orthopedic surgery and sports medicine to in-house imaging, physical therapy, and even a bone health clinic. So whether it's a fracture, a tear, or just life catching up with you, we're here to get you moving again. Ortho Central, it's in our bones to take care of yours. Learn more at orthocentralok.com.
Beats and Bites is back for its 10th anniversary. Join us to celebrate a decade of delicious food, incredible live music, and unforgettable memories at Riverwind Casino. The party starts Saturday, June 13th with Cheap Trick and Gin Blossoms. Book your tickets online or at the box office for only $10. And we'll see you at Riverwind.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler Standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
Mike Steele here for Lasher Home Comfort Systems, your trusted home comfort experts in the Oklahoma City metro area. Tim Lasher and his team have more than 130 years of combined experience. They recognize a significant number of homeowners live with inadequate home comfort systems. They specialize in diagnosing your home system issues while providing more efficiency and reducing your utility costs. As an authorized dealer of American Standard, Tim can service your residence or business. Call Tim and his team at 405-579-3113. Lasher Home Comfort Systems.
Insurance companies aren't in the business of saving you money, they're in the business of taking your money. Hi, this is Will Gosney with Yala Gosney Attorneys at Law. Have you ever had an insurance claim and thought, wow, I really am in good hands, or these folks truly are treating me like a neighbor? Well, that's where we can help. We'll deal with the stress, we'll get you back to your normal life. So save our number in your phone, and if you're ever hurt in a wreck, call or text us at 405-800-8080. It's 405-800-8080.
Hi, I'm Troy Green. I grew up in foster care, homeless and forgotten. I know what it means to struggle just to survive. I wasn't born into power. I fought my way through it. I became a police officer, a coach, and a small business owner, and spent my life protecting families, helping kids, and standing up for working people. Washington already works for the powerful. I'm running for the people they overlook. So I'm asking for your vote June 16th. I'm Troy Green, and I approve this message because it's time to bring integrity and accountability back to Washington and respect and dignity back to Oklahoma.
No matter where you live, you care about one thing during bad weather: keeping your family and property safe. Scissortail Roofing and Construction is here to ensure just that. Whether it's damage from strong winds or a hailstorm, we will manage your residential or commercial project from start to finish. Call us today at 405-928-8089 or visit us online at scissortailroofing.com for a free estimate. Call Scissortail today, your trusted local roofing and construction company.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Grayson, let me ask you something. Do you feel that you could work this job or work in this industry until you were 87 years old?
Into this industry?
Uh-huh.
No, not 87. Who is still broadcasting at 87?
Well, no one's still broadcasting. The reason I ask is because it takes an insane level of dedication, and in fact, I would say an obsession, to do anything professionally until you are 87 years of age.
Agreed.
And this came across the wire last week, so it isn't new news, but I marked it down and wanted to circle back around to it because the University of Iowa, under famously archaic head coach Kirk Ferentz, hired Tom Moore as an offensive consultant. And if you aren't familiar with Tom Moore, the first thing you should know about Tom Moore is that, for one thing, he has 4 Super Bowl rings, has been a highly successful offensive coordinator and assistant in the National Football League, and he is also 87 years old. He is the sickest of football sickos. This man has tried to retire, or I guess he has retired on a couple of occasions, gotten to the point where he's evidently been ready to step away, but for one reason or another has gotten dragged back to football. And for context here, like just so you can play the comparison game here, Tom Moore is 1 year younger than Barry Switzer. 87 years old, and most recently spent time on staff with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with whom he won Super Bowl 55. And now he's going to help revitalize the offense at the University of Iowa, which is the most hilariously Iowa hire ever, right? Hire an 87-year-old guy to help fix your offense. But, man, I have immense respect for Tom Moore. To coach football, to want to be in those rooms, in those meeting rooms, in those out on the field, on headset for 65-plus years of life now. Holy smokes, man. I can only hope I ever find something that I love that much, because Tom Moore loves football more than you do, and he loves football more than I do, and he loves football maybe more than anyone on planet Earth.
I mean, also props to Tom Moore for being in the requisite health to be able to do this, too, at 87. That
is also true.
That is incredible, because, I mean, you look at the stuff that Tom Moore was born in 1938. You look at all the things that have happened since 1938, and that dude is still not just alive and well, but alive and thriving. That's some really cool stuff.
General Booty's lieutenant says, "Bro was around when offense was invented."
Literally.
Who better to coach it? Bixby says, Steely isn't even 87. No, the man is a full quarter century older than Steely.
A texter in the 740 state of Ohio says, all that means is Tom's wife hates having him around the house too much.
Hey, maybe that's the case. Maybe. But, man, I hope I can still, because I'll be honest, like, I have a grandfather who is, I believe he just turned 80 this year, if I'm not mistaken. I think he turned 80.
Okay.
And he has very, very significant dementia that's set in over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, you have a conversation with him. About 10 minutes later, there's a reset button in most cases. And so I just hope that by 87 years of age, I'm still able not only to get up and walk around, but to think and reason intelligently.
Yeah.
And Tom Moore is not only doing that, he's still coaching football.
I mean, and people are consulting with him and asking his opinion. Like, that's incredible. I don't know. I will say this. I don't plan on broadcasting until I'm 87. One of the things I have against this industry is that we hold on to older broadcasters a little too long sometimes.
Are you one of those that thinks Al Michaels needs to hang it up?
Al Michaels, in my mind, is Exhibit A.
Lee Corso was Exhibit A for a few years there.
Right. I mean, yes, Lee Corso falls into that category too. But at some point, I feel like we need to move on from these guys. Not at 68, not at 70, but at some point we need to move on from these guys.
Yeah, Al's what, 80 going on 81?
Yeah. And
I think Al's still got enough of it. He doesn't have his fastball anymore, but he can still paint the black at 87, 88. He can still bring it a little bit.
He's still good. He's still good, but he's good. And I'll tell you what, I think what keeps him around is he's good in moments. He's really good in moments, but, you know, for 3 quarters, sometimes it can be hit or miss.
Oh, we have a lengthy Doug and Norman text. This should be interesting.
Hey.
Parker. Oh, boy. I feel targeted already. Why do you seem to minimize a parent's involvement in any given recruit's dealings with a school? A parent's responsibility is to raise their children in the proper way and to steer their children in the right direction in the best interest of said child. I don't think a 17, 18-year-old has the knowledge or acumen to make those kind of informed decisions regarding recruiting and generally should follow their parents' guidance and advice. Yet time after time, you seem to indicate that XXX recruit would, quote-unquote, obviously choose a particular school, usually OU, but for the parents' interference in the decision. Granted, parents oftentimes don't have the knowledge or wherewithal for complex negotiations either, hence an honest and knowledgeable agent is usually the best way to go, but don't minimize the role of the parent in such important decisions. Never do I intend to do that, Doug, and I think you said it in the second part of your text there. Parents oftentimes don't have the knowledge or wherewithal for complex negotiations. Oftentimes, their kid has more money on the table waiting for him the second he signs on the dotted line than they have ever seen in their lives. And so, yes, that's why more and more high school athletes these days are going in favor of acquiring representation from a pretty early stage. High school sophomores, juniors, sometimes freshmen.
Yeah.
And it's because when there's that much money at stake, there's that much money at play, you want somebody that's not going to be overwhelmed by all of the factors that come with negotiating in such large quantities.
Yeah. And Doug, my answer to your text would be also this, too, when it comes to parents. You have to differentiate between parents and parents who are also bad actors in the equation. Mm-hmm. Because there are more of them than a lot of people realize. It's like, oh, well, the family's going to steer him here. It may not be because the kid's best interest is at the forefront of steering them in that direction.
Yeah.
I mean, there are parents who will raise their kids, hope they become athletes so their kids can immediately start taking care of them.
Parenting is not monolithic.
No.
Your experience growing up with your parents will be different than mine, different from Doug's, different from those of any texter or any listener.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because everybody does it differently. And so, yes, there are some parents that will steer their kids to a given school because they truly and genuinely believe it's in their best interest in the long term. Some parents will do it because they feel it's in their kid's best interest in the short term. Still others will do it because it is in their best interest. And others will just kind of throw their hands up and stay out of the process entirely because they see the recruiting process as a harbinger of adulthood, a first real, crossing the Rubicon type of moment for their kid into adulthood.
Right.
Hey, this is the first big boy decision that you got to make for yourself.
And I'll tell you what, this is another reason why I like the money that's being given to these kids. Because it used to be, when you weren't getting paid, that if you made the wrong decision, you were cooked.
Mm-hmm.
Under the new rules, you had no financial fallback, and it was very hard for you to transfer to a better situation, and you had to sacrifice a year of your football career, which could impact future earnings, right? So that's part of the reason why I like the money, is that if you do end up picking the wrong situation or things outside of your control and what you foresaw happen, if things go bad, you got a little bit of a financial fallback to where you can still start your life.
All of that is true. Greg Muskogee says all that right there proves my previous text before this one. And that previous text reads, okay, so Osborne does not have an agent, and him and his family are handling his financial decisions for his future. Then my question would be, how educated is his family and what is their economic background? Is this going to be all about the money or about his future prospects or setting him up for the rest of his life? I mean, listen, I don't really feel the need to get into the weeds on that. I don't really feel it's right for me to get into the weeds on that. I don't feel that Gabe Osborne's family and their background and their economic situation is of enough importance, at least right now, in this whole conversation to warrant full disclosure of such a matter on the radio. But, yeah, I mean, Gabe Osborne and his folks are handling it all in-house right now. And Osborne said that his mom has been particularly instrumental in helping him navigate the whole process. And, I think we'll learn a lot about the motivations and the priorities and all of the advice that he's receiving, not just from his mom, but from the other folks in his camp, when the money really does hit the table during OV season. Because a lot of conversations pertinent to NIL have happened thus far, but OV season is when those conversations happen for real.
Mm-hmm. A texter in the 740, state of Ohio, says, how do kids sign agents when they're under 18? Do parents have to co-sign?
It's a good question.
It is a good question.
I do not know. Could not tell you.
You would have to imagine there's some sort of parental consent to that.
Yeah. But and I'll say this much on the topic of good agents, organized agents. Part of the reason that Oklahoma has been able to build their class so large so quickly is because a lot of the kids that they have dealt with have highly qualified, well-trained, professional agents that they can hammer out the money matters with very expeditiously. And so part of the reason, I shouldn't say the whole reason, but part of the reason why Oklahoma has been able to land so many early commitments in the 2027 cycle is not just because they've been able to really impress these kids with the on-field product and the structure and the soul mission and the family environment, but because once the kid warms up to all of those things, as opposed to past cycles where maybe the obstacle that lingered was hammering out the numbers, figuring out what the final dollar signs are going to look like. If you sell a kid on Oklahoma being a fit early in the process and he's buying what you're selling and he likes it and he's down with the possibility of being a Sooner, and then you can pivot to having those conversations with their agent and make sure that you're landing on a number that the kid and the family and the agent as well as the school are all on the same page with. And what's left, Grayson? I mean, it's a done deal at that point.
Yeah.
And that's how it's gone with so many of these kids.
And, you talk about the targeted efficiency. I'll even go a step further to say it's a plan of attack for who to communicate with whom. And that can speed up the process too. Coaches, you communicate with the players. You tell them about how great the football is going to be, how we can develop you as a football player. We'll communicate with your representation about your money. And the two are going to be married and work in concert with each other. And we're going to get stuff done expeditiously, like you mentioned.
And I think that's part of the reason why you don't have to worry about a ton of turnover in Oklahoma's class from now until signing day. You don't have to worry about a ton of moving parts, losses that open the door for necessary additions. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that Oklahoma could lose 2 or 3 guys from their current group of 21 commits. I mean, we've tossed around some names.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we've talked about guys that if things go a certain way, they might wind up walking away from Oklahoma for one reason or another. But you're not going to see a mass exodus from this class because, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the deals are done with a lot of these guys. And that's not going to change. Barring, going 4-8 and everybody gets fired, things obviously change at that point. But as long as Oklahoma wins some football games this fall and everything stays on track and Brent Venables' job security remains where it is right now and there's no concern whatsoever about turnover on the staff, then, yeah, Oklahoma's going to sign what ought to be a top 5 class, could be a top 3 class, might be the number 1 class when all's said and done. The Sooners are going to have a puncher's chance at it. That's for darn sure. All right, folks. For today's installment of Locked In, it is a wrap. Coming up next, though, The Rush kicks off. 3 more hours of sports talk coming your way with Tyler McComas and the Butkus Award winner, Teddy Lehman. For Grayson Singleton, I am Parker Thune. Always fun hanging with you all on the First Liberty Bank text line. We'll bring you another fantastic installment of Locked In tomorrow. Same time, same place here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Take it easy.